afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Wade, and I'm the founder and managing director at DoOver.me. We are a 501c3 that was founded 6 years ago to provide proven, practical, and professional support to anyone who's looking for a job. And today, that's pretty much everyone. Whether you're out of work because of COVID or another reason, whether you're working at a job that is less than what you'd like to be doing, or whether you're just ready for a change, DoOver.me is designed to help. And we do it all virtually, and we do it all on a sliding scale so that you can afford it. Check it out, www.doover.me. Every week, we are doing something live here on Facebook, and today we're talking about the intersectionality of entrepreneurs or someone with an entrepreneurial spirit and networking. Why entrepreneurs? Well, because in this day and age, especially because there are so many people out of work because of COVID, there are many, many more people than even usual thinking about what it might be like to be an entrepreneur. So if you've ever thought about wanting to be an entrepreneur, this month of August at DoOver.me is designed for you. We're going to be talking all month about different kinds of entrepreneurial attributes and whether they apply to someone who really is or wants to be someday an entrepreneur, or whether they apply to you as someone who's always going to work for somebody else but has an entrepreneurial spirit. Well, that's up to you. So today, the intersectionality point that we're talking about is where that entrepreneurial spirit comes into play with networking. Why networking? Because we did a survey last month and asked you, what is the scariest thing that you face when you're looking for a job? And everyone responded by saying networking. So we're here to help you. So the first thing I want to tell you is that if you Google the word networking, I got 1.3 trillion, that's trillion with a T, responses in 75 seconds. There's lots of information out there, people, on how to network successfully. If you add TED Talks to the word networking, you get 9.7 million responses in 53 seconds. The point that I'm trying to make here is that whether it's networking, your best resume, the strongest marketing profile you can put on LinkedIn, interviewing, whatever it is that you're struggling with, there are zillions, with a Z, that's a word, zillions of resources out there that are available to you to learn how to do whatever it is that you think you need help doing. And yet, why do so many people come to DoOver.me and express the feeling of being lost and unable to figure this out? I think the reality is that even though you very smart and capable people read the books, read the magazine articles, listen to the TED Talks, listen to the podcasts, that when you are unemployed, underemployed, or unhappily employed, what really makes the difference to you in seeing success and achieving that success that you can envision for yourself is somebody to do it with you. We have a policy at DoOver.me. Nobody ever has to be alone. There's all kinds of different support mechanisms with groups of people, with workshops like this, and with one-on-one coaching so that DoOver.me is going to do it together with you. DIT, do it together. Why? Because we believe that everybody needs a helping hand. Not just a book to read or a TED Talk to listen to, but an actual helping hand that's going to come forward and sit and listen and be able to respond directly to you about the challenges that you're having. And that's one of the things that makes us unique and different. So whether you are unemployed, underemployed, or unhappily employed, think about DoOver.me when you're thinking about looking for that partner to do it together with. And here's just a sample today of some of the kinds of things that you can learn. First of all, I want to tell you about 3 books that are available. When I did the research for this talk, and when I've done research in the past, when I've Googled the word networking, when you add books to that word, networking books, almost without question, the book that is always at the top of the list is Dale Carnegie's book that was written in 1936, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a classic. It's a classic because the wisdom that is in that book is applicable for any time of the world, whether it's COVID or the Great Depression or right before World War II. Whatever it is that we're facing as human beings, Dale Carnegie has an answer. He has a way to think about networking that is going to work for you. The second book is not always in second place, but frequently in second place. And it's a book that we talk a lot about at DoOver.me. It was written by a guy named Keith Ferrazzi. And that book is Never Eat Lunch Alone. It's a classic too, maybe not as old as Carnegie's book, but it's also a classic book about how to do networking well. So many of the ideas and the tips and the tricks that I share with you are going to be coming from either one of those books. And then, of course, the last one is the book of the month, which is by Linda Rottenberg, and it's called Crazy is a Compliment, The Power of Zigging When Everyone Else Zags. Linda's book is primarily about being an entrepreneur, but part of being an entrepreneur involves networking in the same way that it's involved if you're going to be somebody that's going to work for somebody else. Maybe even more so if you're an entrepreneur. So listen to this quote by Linda. The art of entrepreneurship is not simply about starting a business. It's about taking chances, overcoming doubts, managing risks, dealing with chaos, cultivating employees, coping with both stumbles and successes, integrating work and family, and paying it forward to ensure that the next generation can dream big as well. Linda is a believer in the power of networking and in mentorships because it's those vehicles that she uses in order to pay it forward, to be able to share what she's learned as an entrepreneur and as co-founder of the company Endeavor, to teach others about the beauty and the benefits and sometimes the bruises of being an entrepreneur. So whether you're here today because you thought about being an entrepreneur, or whether you're here today because you just think that idea of being an entrepreneur is crazy making, and that's not something you'd ever do, but you want to learn about networking, here's what you need to know. Networking, like most every other skill I can think of, is a learned skill. And that ought to make you really, really happy, because that means even if you're somebody that sits there and says, well, I'm not good at networking, I never have been good at networking, I never will be good at networking, I just don't understand how it works or what I have to do in order to make it work, I'm here to tell you that is a false belief. You need to kick that one to the curb and realize that, yes, everybody can learn how to be an effective networker. It's a learned skill. Go Google that word networking. Whether you add books after it or TED topics after it, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of hits. Start reading. Start practicing. Follow doover.me on social media. Go to our website and look at our calendar. We have events every month that help people with communications, and that's what networking is. It's communication. So you can learn to do this. I'm going to start off today by telling you a couple of things that you might not have thought about when you think about beginning to network that are really good tips to keep in mind. So the first is have a plan. Don't go into a networking situation and not have any idea of what you're going to do or how you're going to approach it. Think about the event, whether it's face-to-face or now more than likely virtual. Think about how many people are going to be there. Think about who is going to be there. Is it a specific group of people, a specific title of persons? What do you have in common with these people? Is there somebody that's going to be there that you specifically want to get acquainted with? Think about all those things in advance and have a little 3 to 5 point plan of what it is you're going to do when you get into that networking situation, so that if you become unsure, you can just go back to your plan and say, well, this is what I was going to do when this happened. And if this happened, then I was going to do this. So always try to have a plan. Even if your plan doesn't work out the way you thought it would, if you can come back to it, it can maybe get you back on track again. Plans are usually always a good thing. And then here's some tips that you need to think about when you're putting together your plan and when you're implementing it. When you're meeting somebody new, what's the most important thing that you can do? Smile and be friendly. It's like the photographs we all put on LinkedIn. Nobody wants a sour face pussy. I mean, I can have that kind of a face. I can do resting bitch face really well. But that's not what people want to see. People want to see my smile. And they want to see your smile too. You know, I'm not a model, and neither are you probably. But that doesn't matter. They just want a friendly, approachable, smiling person that they can look for in the group. So always start off with a smile. And then don't apologize. You don't have anything to apologize for. You're there meeting people, getting to know people just like they are. And when you start off with an apology, you're demeaning yourself and you're giving someone else a reason to think badly of you from the very beginning. So there's nothing to apologize. You're just there bringing your best self to the event. Never apologize. And then start with what you know. A lot of times people will tell us that they're afraid of networking because they don't know what they should talk about. So think about, as I said earlier, the group you're in, the kind of people that you're going to be meeting, and then what do you know that you could share with those people that they might find interesting. Come prepared with 3 to 4 to 5 conversation starters, so that when you're standing there and you're racking your brain for something to say, you've already got them practiced in your head. So, did you hear about that crazy storm that we had here in the Midwest yesterday? I forget what it's called, but it's like a word that you hardly ever hear because it only happens every 5 years. Or, gosh, did you hear that the Big Ten canceled its season? Or, oh my gosh, did you hear that Joe Biden named his running mate? Whatever it is, whether it's something that's connected to the group and to the people that you're networking with, or whether it's something totally outside, have something that you know about that you can start with. Share some information that you have that might be of interest to the other person. And then listen. Be a really good listener. In today's day and age, the whole idea of, so how are you? Oh my gosh, that's so old. It was old even before COVID, right? But now nobody wants to talk about how they are. When you meet somebody for the first time, maybe something as specific as, well, I hope that you and your loved ones have been able to dodge this COVID bullet and that none of you have been stricken by this awful disease. Something that's very specific. I hope I'm finding you and your loved ones in a place where you guys are healthy and that you're being able to maintain your income and your lifestyle. Something that is specifically about COVID that is phrased in the form of a question, and then shut up and listen. Be okay with a silent 30-second pause until somebody gets their motor running and start talking. Because I'm here to tell you that we as people, none of us listen as well to each other as we all want to be listened to. So if you can ask a question and seem genuinely interested in the answer, and then sit back quietly and patiently, waiting for that person to respond, more times than not, you will unleash a response like you had no imagination of. Because people want to talk, they want to feel like they're heard. So as you are listening to them, pay attention. Turn around and make comments and ask more questions and get them talking. And I guarantee you that if you are with somebody for maybe 7 minutes in a networking situation, and 5 minutes of that 7 are spent by them talking about themselves, they will walk away feeling really good about you. Even though they may not know much about you, that's okay, because they're going to remember you, and they're going to remember you positively. And really, that's tip number 3, and that is that you have to be able to recognize that networking isn't about you, and it isn't about today. It's about them, and it's about tomorrow. So you're building a relationship for the future. That takes time. That takes patience. That takes somebody that's really sincerely interested in getting to know somebody. Networking is not about sales. It's not about going in and trying to get something for yourself. Maybe that's what you think it is, and maybe that's why you have a bad feeling about networking. And I'm here to say, that isn't the way this works. You're just trying to make a friend, just like you used to do when you were on the playground. And you do that by finding common ground and by finding a place where you can connect, asking those questions, and really, really listening to those answers. When you're in a networking situation, you're going to want to try to always exchange business cards. So if you are unemployed, one of the things that we recommend at DoOver.me is that if you are unemployed, or depending upon the situation you're in, sometimes even if you are employed and maybe you don't have a business card or you don't want to use your business card for whatever reason, have a business card to hand out to somebody else in that social setting. And make sure that you can pull yours out when everybody else pulls theirs out. Believe me, it's going to make you feel better because you have one. And number two, it's going to allow you to exchange something so that you can get their contact information and they can get your contact information. And then, as I said earlier, even if they don't remember what you do, if they remember that they liked you and they were a really nice person, then when you ask them to connect on LinkedIn, they're going to say yes. So always end up that relationship in a networking situation with the exchange of those cards and then follow up with the people, usually on LinkedIn, because that's what LinkedIn is, guys. It's a virtual cocktail party where you're going to have your virtual network around you. Now, whether you go into this building relationships that are going to maybe ultimately be yours, that are going to help you with jobs going forward, or with a business that you're planning on developing, that doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that you know how to do it and you do it well. And if you start when you're young, when you're straight out of college with your first job, by the time you're my age, you're going to have a whole boatload of people that you know, especially if you manage to maintain those relationships over time. And that doesn't mean even a weekly or monthly call necessarily. It just means staying in nice contact with them, getting into a flow so that you do always have that relationship to count on. Remember, the only way that anybody ever gets good at anything is by practicing. Practice learning how to network, practice the communication skills that are involved in networking so that when you're in that situation, you will be able to do it and do it well. Now, one of the things that people say is, well, you know, I don't want to practice because I'm embarrassed. And it's like role playing. Everybody seems to hate role playing as much as they hate networking because if you feel like you're being put on the spot in many cases. So find a safe group where you are going to be welcomed and accepted exactly who you are, and where they are inviting you to grow and become a better person than the one that's walking in the door. But if you don't, that's okay too. You know, they're still going to accept you. DoOver.me is that kind of a place. And we offer several opportunities to practice those communication skills that are so critical to being able to network effectively and also to be able to interview effectively. So take a look at our calendar. Remember our website, www.doover.me. Go to the events section, the events tab, and then open up the calendar, and you're going to see lots of different opportunities to practice in communication games and in improv skills and in Toastmaster type skills. So on our website, you're going to see activities like that. And you're also going to see an activity for a group called Yes and Toastmasters, which combines improv and Toastmasters into one meeting. They meet on the second and the fourth Thursday of every month. So they actually have a meeting. What did that be? The 13th of this month, I think? This week, this Thursday, 2 days from now. No, I guess that would be the 13th. Is that what I said, the 13th? Anyway, look on the calendar. It's going to be there on the calendar. It's not a DoOver.me event, but we have it on our calendar because we think it's so important that everyone should have an opportunity to be exposed to it, to play improv games for business professionals, and to be able to speak and learn to present, whether it's a small group or whether it's a large group, to be able to speak like a professional. Those are so important, and they will help you both in networking and also in interviewing. And these are those close, small group situations where you can join and you can practice. And if you make a mistake, it's going to be okay. It's going to be an opportunity for you to learn and grow with the support of other people who are learning and growing, so that when you have to get out there and be in a situation where you really have to do it, you'll be able to do it because you've learned how to master the very important skill of networking. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of this. If you didn't get to see or hear the whole event, look for it because it will be saved on Facebook Live here, and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions or concerns, check out our website because, like I said, we have a lot of really great information there. www.doover.me, or send me an email, Cynthia@doover.me, or pick up the phone and call me. I love to meet new people. I love to talk on the phone. You can reach me at 630-402-0429. Thanks a lot for being here today. It was great to have you. And go out there and make it a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.